Hey friends! Oh my god, hi Red! How are you doing? I am back to animating today. Gonna do some more of this little mini meme for the Inverse project. I think most of the people in chat already know what it is, so I'm not gonna waste time. I'm just gonna go for it. But yeah, so like a lot of the style is like very angular. A lot of the notes that I've been getting back from Neliel is like to stop rounding out so many of the images or so many of the corners, and to like really keep those angles in there. So I'm going to talk a lot about that. Mostly I have my keyframes and breakdowns done. It's just the in-betweens that I'm going to be working on today, and then starting to add in clothing and the tails from the mask and all that stuff, so that'll be cool. I have an eye on chat. I see you all. If anyone who's also working on the project has like questions about the style or how to go about constructing the characters, I can answer that too. Oh yeah, and I did switch from Saturn, or from Spork to Saturn. I've even got new poses, so like when I'm thinking, I don't think I'm gonna be frustrated. Well, I could be frustrated while working on this, but then she can look like this, or if I've done something that's really cool. So we're having fun today. Anyway, sorry I sound like I'm in a tin can. My microphone is just not working, decidedly. But yeah, so gonna be keep working with Leo. Hey, I see you. I see names that I recognized. But yeah, I'll just play it through a few times, just because I think my keyframes are pretty much solid. There might be a few things that'll change here and there. But yeah, so just working on filling in my missing in-betweens and then getting a start on extra details. Because right now, she ain't achy, and we don't want that. So I think I'll start... Oh, well, she doesn't have an arm here, so that would be a good place to start. Basically, a lot of angles, so at every joint, we're going to pretty much just think about her in terms of like lines, and then you can round out the shape in some places later, but for the most part, the inverse style is very angular. So here at the like mass that is your palm, kind of near the pinky, and then again at the fingers, which I keep rounding out and then have to go back and square off. One of the things that I find most helpful is to just like basically draw in lines and then go back later and round things out that don't need to be so angular, because I know we do actually have a pretty round forearm like mass, if that makes sense. But for the most part, the style is very pointy and I almost want to say iconographic. Again, if you guys are in the animators chat in the Inverse server, I do have a Google Doc with things to go over for style guide. If anyone like sees anything and they're like, oh, I don't know how to do this, definitely put it on that Google Doc, because we're gonna make a more coherent guide. The other thing is you don't have to hit perfect poses for every keyframe. You can always either go back and adjust, or sometimes the character is moving so fast it is actually better to break your model. Because a lot of the times it's easier to go too far and then pull it back than it is to try and exaggerate on the first try, or try and get it perfect on the first try. So this shoulder feels kind of disjointed. And then for our hand here, I'm not really worrying about the clothes because I can always go back and do that later. Oh no! I tried to make my volume louder, but here, let me type in chat. Oh, I have to sign in to type. Why do I have to sign in to type? That's weird. I should be signed in already. Hopefully, if you can't hear too much, at least like watching, and if there's anything at all that you're like confused about, feel free to like type it in chat or in that Google Doc that should be in the animators channel. But essentially, angles. Thinking about drag and follow through, this hand is going to kind of lag behind because the shoulder is the driver. I very much take the approach of like, I can always fix things later, and I would rather get the motion in and then be told to correct a drawing than be stiff or not stiff, but like not go as far as I can with motion just because I'm trying to correct the model. Alright, so here we want to do a head shake, I think is what we talked about for the posing. These are going to be on 1s because usually they're on 2s when we're at 24. So here... Here is, let's see, a lot of the times what I end up doing at the beginning of a project when I'm not fully like confident with the style yet is I just straight up trace the reference and then I move it over to where I need it and adjust it for the frame, so I know that her head's shaped like this, and I just move it over to this area. And then just adjust the head as needed. So I know for this side profile, and then for the head shake, no, I'm at 12 right now. I was just saying that on like a head shake is very fast, and so at 24 it's on 2s, which means if I'm at 12 right now, it needs to be on 1s. Animating at 24 has actually been like a lot more difficult than I thought. Like, I didn't realize how much I rely on having 24 frames per second. But I'm getting the hang of it. Luckily, it is like a base 6, so if there's any scene that we need that we're like, oh, I think we need to bump it up to 24, we won't get any interpolation because it's the same multiple. But yeah, the project itself is going to be at 12 for the most part. Okay, so this is a side profile. This is an open mouth er. I'm gonna put a star here because I might need to adjust that mouth shape. Typically, you want to animate the body without the mouths, but I, for some reason, have decided that I'm just gonna try and do it all in one go. For the actual project itself, lip sync animators are different from like animators. So you won't have to worry about doing the mouth and the body at the same time. Any updates with the Mikey intro? So far, I don't think any of us have started. I think because if I remember correctly, the Mikey turnaround needs to be redone. Or it is still like a work in progress, from what I've heard. Because I have not started any work on that. I haven't heard anyone starting. If that kind of answers your question. It's kind of a UR sound, even though it's ER. I'm gonna correct the mask later. The key to doing a head shake is to just like plan it out like a regular motion, and then kind of do the actual shaking of the head last. So I'm just filling in my in-betweens or my breakdown, and then I'll shake the head in a little bit. Hi! And, oh yeah, Red. So a lot of the times in television, there are animators specifically just for lip sync, especially if it's a puppet-based show, where some animators do the whole body and then some animators just do the lip sync. That's kind of how we're approaching it with this project as well. But in like cinematic animation, everyone just kind of does their own lip sync and motion at the same time. I think I wasn't watching the volume on this arm as much as I should have been. Spaghetti. But yeah, the nice part about like not having to clean this up in one go is I'm just gonna kind of sketch this hand out here, because I'm gonna do a tie down pass. But there's a lot of different like roles on this project as well. I definitely need to watch the hand size because I think it's gotten smaller. I also don't like the posing of this one, so I'm going to change it. Ultimately, it's like a lot of pushing and pulling of like lines and pixels. I think the biggest advice I have is like don't be afraid to just throw out a whole drawing. It's just kind of part of like getting your motion down. Yeah. And I think, oh, this hand is... I'm gonna do the same later. I think I'm gonna focus on the motion of the body first. Again, I'm just making sure that I have the correct head shape. I'm gonna bring it in about here. And make sure I get all of the right angles. Because now her head's gonna turn towards the camera and kind of face us. This is actually... That's better. And yeah. And then I can in between it from there. But I think this head needs to tilt down a little bit more. I can always clean things up later. I have like 20 sketch layers. It's fine. I think getting the motion is more important than getting it on model, because you can always make it more on model. But the motion is like the most important. Yeah, I have all of these. Like, there's so many of them. But it's mostly because I animate the body first, and then I do the head movement on like its own layer. It's a nightmare. I almost want to like bring this arm in closer. What do you mean? I just, it's more like I know that I'm quick enough to just like do a bajillion layers. Rather than trying to get everything on model the first time. And I think it also depends on how well I know the character that I'm animating. The body's a driver, so her body's gonna move a lot faster or a lot more than her head. Something like that. The chat is not great on YouTube. I have to hit refresh every once in a while. It's just the program that I use doesn't particularly like YouTube. It's really set up for Twitch. I think I mean, like, oh, I don't know. I think every once in a while it will jump ahead. It's just like the product of using YouTube instead of using Twitch. But like, it works kind of. I have like a lot. I kind of have like an established thing on YouTube already, and so this is where I wanted to stream. But if it's too big, I'm sorry. But yeah, every once in a while you will see it just like jump, and it sure is. And this is going to be another situation where the body looks kind of awkward, but it's all in the sake of motion. Like earlier in here, you could see that I actually kind of like break one of her joints, but I promise when it's all animated, it's gonna look perfect. It's gonna look like not bad. So we've got a hand starting to open and turn. Yeah, that'll work. Honestly, I think that everyone would be a lot more productive if, like, I find myself a lot more productive, I think, when I, work on something while somebody else is also working, especially if it's on the stream. So honestly, feel free to use this time to work on animations that you've been avoiding. I think in the sake of maintaining eye trace, I have such a big motion going on over here with this hand that I'm going to keep her other hand very simple. Yeah. Oh my gosh! Honestly, let's do it. Let's all work on things that we need to work on. Let's take this time to work on things that we need to work on. I think the undersketch is actually needs to be eliminated. I think it's actually throwing me off. I almost feel like I need to put the hand on its own layer because it's actually moving too slow. Like I've timed this out for 24 and we're on 12, which means that the hand motion needs to be on ones? Yeah, it's so slow. Okay. Yeah, this needs to be on ones. Luckily, I have a tool that can do that. So let's do cut to layer. I'm about to make like 30 new layers, so everyone watch out. Oh boy, sorry for the crunchy audio. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Now the question is, does this draw away from the head shake? Yeah, I think we're going to have to put these back. I think we're so trained to look at faces that it doesn't really matter that the hand is kind of slow. I'm just gonna have to kind of take the L on that one. Or, I don't know, I might adjust it when I do the head shake. We'll see. Part of animation is experimenting, so we will figure it out when we get there, I think. I think one of the big things that's going to go on the style guide is how to gesture with just 2 fingers total. Or, well, 2 fingers and a thumb. Yeah, I think that's a nice motion. And then also definitely how to... Yeah, oh good, okay. Yeah, I think mostly we're trained to focus on faces rather than hands. And I can always adjust it later. But I don't want to draw attention away from the face and to the hand. I would much rather have the like face and the lip sync be the focus. My onion skin is way too bright. I tend not to like play animations through like this, but I think it's just I can't see it. Yeah, that'll work good. My dog is begging to go out, so just give me one moment. I'm gonna switch to my Be Right Back screen. Alright, we're back. Sometimes the dog does not want to come back inside after she asks to go outside. Yeah. Oh! Sorry there's a stream delay. I just saw those messages. Again, I think it's the program that I'm using to stream. It has like a premium feature that has like a lower delay, but I don't really want to pay for it. So hopefully it's not too far behind. The key to lip sync, if you don't know, is number one, when you have a big vowel sound, you always want to go from like closed or slightly closed to all the way open and then close the mouth very slowly. And then two, you can always hit your audio early but never late. So, because the speed of light is faster than the speed of sound, I believe is the explanation. So you almost always want to hit your mouth shapes a little early. Because you're going to see something milliseconds before you hear it, and that delay can actually, like really mess your drawings up. Wow. Nice job, me. Okay. So again, I think another one of our style guide responses is how to like draw the faces volumetrically. Because right now we're kind of looking up at her from a like a worm's eye view, it's called. This should actually be a fully closed mouth. I know, can you believe science affects animation? That's okay. I can always do lip sync adjustment later. Oh, she's also lost her eyes, so. But yeah, no, totally. Always hit your... You want your lip sync to look more accurate, hit it early, especially with big sounds like F and V and like the A's. Wait, I know it's like different for every frame, right? Yeah, but it's like, sorry, oh my god, I just had two thoughts interrupt each other. Oh my gosh, I've never had that happen before. Yes, so you can hit your lip sync early. In cinematic animation, like when I'm doing 24, sometimes bigger sounds like the F's, the open mouth ah sound, you can almost hit those 8 frames early. Like, in order to be really accurate, sometimes you have to be super early. Whereas sounds like the E and the R, like the more closed mouth ones, those tend to be like maybe 1 to 2 frames early. I'm still learning what it's like for 12 frames per second animation, but it seems to be a very similar process. So like this one, I need to have an open mouth frame. I already know it. But again, that's going to be, when I do cleanup, I'm going to basically make the mouth and the body on 2 separate layers, because she doesn't need to be moving at 1 frame per second, or she doesn't need to be moving on ones, but her mouth does need to, especially for this. Yeah, I'm serious, Red, 8 frames early. Red, I don't know if you remember that animation with Ro I did, like the lip sync one where she's eating breakfast, but like a few of those mouth sounds had to go like 8-10 frames early. It was really hard to wrap my brain around, but obviously like when you watch it like works. Oh, absolutely, Theater Kid Leo. She is 100% performing Hamlet right now. And then let's see, the body's the driver. So her shoulders are going to go up earlier than her head. Just delaying parts of the body can help make your animation look a lot more smooth, even if you don't have as many frames to work with. So, a lot of the times it's just thinking about what part of the body is going to move your action. So like, when you move your arm, you're actually moving from the shoulder. Even if it feels like you're moving your hand around, you really are starting from the shoulder. So identifying the driver, and then, or like the trunk. I call it the driver. I have no idea why. But identifying the driver and then knowing that you can start moving that early can really help add a lot of more motion to your animation, even if there aren't as many frames. And then this is another thing where I'm definitely going to have to correct these arms later, but again, I'm just trying to get the motion in there. And then this will probably be a situation where I actually end up breaking her arm. It's going to be a very unnatural pose, but because she's moving so fast, it shouldn't matter. It's not exactly a smear frame, but it's very similar to a smear. It's called a break. Some animation like studios don't. Come on, brain. Please focus. Some animation studios don't actually allow you to use breaks, which is really odd. I think that the animation is a lot stronger with it, even if it's a very serious animation. There's a very famous break and smear in the stampede chase in The Lion King, like a very serious scene in which Mufasa is probably going to die. And yet it's there, but you don't even notice it's there. This one, we might actually get a smear in here just because I have so few frames to work with. For the most part, like, smears should be used sparingly, especially, and then if they are used, they should be used on ones. But this is a part where I actually might not have enough frames for a proper slow in, slow out. It might be better to use a smear. Yeah, I think I might have to use a smear here, but we will see when I get the head motion in. So it's a lot of things to think about, I think, but once you do, once you animate a bajillion times, which I haven't, but I've probably animated about 100 times, question mark. I don't know if you can quantify it, actually. But the point is, once you get very familiar with animation, all of these things that I'm saying just become second nature. And I do tend to tell myself to do them in my head. But, I have a tangent here that is going to flatten out the motion. So I want to bring this arm away. I'm not saying that you have to think about all of these things every single time that you animate. Part of the learning process is, and like part of the reason that we have like me as the animation director and then the actual director is that we can be like, hey, I think you should think about doing this here, and so that way you don't have to remember it on your own, especially if you're like a first-time animator. I don't know if I like the motion of this elbow. A very famous example of a break that a lot of people think is an error is in the Let It Go sequence from Frozen, in which, like, near the end of the song, during the dress transformation, Elsa's braid actually goes through her arm, and a lot of people would at first think that that's an error, but it's not. It's actually was completely done on purpose. Basically, they did not have enough frames in that motion to, you know, correctly go over the shoulder and past. It would have been a very awkward motion. So instead, it's just like one frame where you just pass the hair through the shoulder, and it's not really noticed unless you watch it like frame by frame. I actually almost think that this elbow should come outward a little bit. Need a better motion. And then sometimes it's just a ton of noodling and trying to draw in perspective. Okay, there's gonna probably be a smear there, but I don't think it's where I thought it was gonna be. And that's going to, yeah, there's gonna need to be a smear here, actually. But that comes later. So we're finishing out the ooh mouth shape and into the ER shape. Which singular sequence, Pip? The Frozen sequence? Yeah. No, there's genuinely her hair just passes right through her arm. If you use the greater than less than keys, the one that looks like these on YouTube, you can go forward frame by frame. It's like right when she lets her hair down and then there's like the dress transformation or whatever. Bum, bum, bum. Oh yeah, that's how I scrub Taskmaster. Is with the greater than less than keys. Very helpful animation tool, by the way. The greater than less than keys on YouTube. Oh, thank you! I think it's really coming along. And I know I definitely have some like model corrections to do, but like I've been saying, I want to get the motion correct and then go back and fix the model rather than just trying to only get the model correct. Because I was going to do a tie-down pass anyway. Oh, I just saw your message in the server. So, let me just respond. I'll probably be streaming at least a half hour more. I really just want to get like all of my in-betweens done and then start to block out the fabric, so I'll probably still be here. And I'm missing an arm somewhere. I just saw it. Oh, it's here. Yeah. Thank you! I'm really happy with the movement so far. I like the arm movement a lot. I think this is what I was worried about, was this arm. I think it works pretty well. I'm gonna do... Oh, just no shoulder. My brain is working at like 300 miles an hour, so if I start a sentence and then don't finish it, my bad. I almost want to finish this upwards motion. I don't know, I'll play around with like breaking the joints and see if again, starting a sentence and then not finishing it, but I'll play around with breaking the joints and see if that motion works. I've activated the camera. That's not what I want. There we go. I think this is another situation of... We're gonna drag the head behind. Usually it's called an eccentric breakdown when we favor one side more than the other. So in this head turn, I'm really favoring facing to the left before she moves her head to the right, which would, I think, technically classify as an eccentric breakdown. But sometimes, again, it's all in the sake of sometimes you favor motion in order to fake motion when you don't have a lot of frames to work with. Or you favor poses to fake motion. Again, that mask is something that I'm going to fix. I know absolutely nothing about dancing. I think I did ballet. I did ballet when I was younger, but yeah, absolutely nothing else. Also, sorry there's only like 3 tracks repeating in the background. I got a copyright strike on my last video, so I had to change music. Not a copyright strike. It wasn't a strike, it was just a whatchamacallit. A claim. Not a claim. The one where like it's like, oh, you're using our music, so revenue goes to us or whatever. And wow, that's awkward. No. This does not work. I almost think that this pose needs to be on the next frame. Hold on, let me cut to brush. And then I think her hand could be a little bit smaller. I'm looking at the like reference on the side. Oh my god, Pip. Yeah. Honestly, me too. I participated in something called the 24-hour animation contest, which if you see it and think it's a good idea, it's not. It will destroy your body and soul. But essentially you make a 30-second animation in 24 hours with a team of 5. And our team was called the Eccentric Breakdowns because that's what we were having, trying to finish a 30-second animation in that short amount of time. don't know if it's awkward because it snaps into place, or if it's because of the pose itself. Oh, there's something so weird about these two. Okay, I think if I just start watching it from here, then I can see if, like, what is making it awkward. I think that there's just not enough frames here for this motion. So, let's see. I like this pose. I think this pose is okay. I think the hand could be a little bigger. I'm just trying to think. I do like this pose, I think, but the problem is the two that come before it. I think my option is I don't have enough frames for the motion that I was thinking of. Which is a little frustrating, but that's on me. So this is the time where I throw out poses and not get attached to drawings and go for the motion that would make the most sense. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So instead of having the arm out like that, oh, and then I gotta look at the reference I have on the side has her biceps more like this, and her forearm like this. Oh my god, Mikey, no. Congrats on finishing your commission though. It's always nice to, like, finish something. I think this will be better. Sometimes the motion doesn't work, and that's okay, and you just throw it out and start over. It is so much easier to do on a on a computer, or like on a digital animation program. Sorry, my dog's crying because the other dog is going out for a WALK. But yeah, it's so much easier to throw out a pose on the computer, because when I had to animate on paper, I was so resistant to throwing out poses. I hated it. It's awful. Okay, and then if I put the starting pose back here, what happens? Yeah, that's much better. Okay. Um, I think it's all about trial and error, and you're not necessarily going to get everything correct on the first try, which sucks. But that's part of like starting in such a rough state. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I am gonna keep the live stream up. It should be like a VOD on my channel. I'm sure this link will take you to the same video. So no worries. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Oh, bye, Red. Have a good dinner. Yeah. Yeah, no, the VOD will stay up. I'm gonna be slightly muted because I've been neglecting my sandwich. So, if I see any messages in chat, I'll unmute to talk. Pip, you're not gonna like this, but it is peanut butter and jelly and cheese. Which I know sounds vile, but trust me when I say it's genuinely good. Pip, my dear friend, do I even want to know what you did today? Because I feel like sometimes it makes me question our friendship. I'm joking. I would never judge you for any. No. I would never end our friendship over weird food. Let's put it that way. Sweet, thanks for hanging out. The VOD will definitely be up. Yeah. And then again, if you have any questions about the style, there's a Google Doc in the animators channel. I don't, it should actually not be in the animators channel, it should be in the artist channel, so I'll move that around. But yeah. Thank you. Peanut butter jelly and sharp cheddar cheese is honestly such a good sandwich. Every time I eat one, I feel like that scene in Ratatouille where Remy eats the strawberry and the cheese and like there's visuals. Actually, I'm gonna close her mouth for this frame. Honestly, peanut butter jelly and sharp cheddar cheese are like the ultimate, like, quick depression meal. Because you have the fruit from the jelly, you have protein from peanut butter, and you have a little bit of fat from the cheese. And it's like and the grain from the bread. And you hit like 4 out of 5 food groups. It's fantastic. Highly recommend. I think that arm's a little slow. Yeah, arm's a little slow, and I think it just comes from me not being used to 12 frames per second. Because, like, this frame should already be... This frame should already be, like, right here. Yeah, that's good. Okay, cool. Okay. I think I have to separate the arm from the head, because it's already a very slow motion. And when I add the head shake in, or the frames for the head shake, I think it's just going to slow it down more. So I'll start from here. There we go. And now I can start in-betweening the head. Oh. I kind of forgot to put the hand back in. It's all good. I can do it now. Oh, hold on. Anyway. Wonder if I can get away with just moving the head. Probably not. Probably just like tween the body ever so slightly. Okay, I think I'm gonna call it for today because I've worked for an hour and a half, and I'm basically done with my keyframes and breakdowns, and I really want to save like the clothing and nailing the style for another day, especially when I can have the director on a voice call, which I think we agreed for Monday. So yeah, I think I'm pretty good here. I'm just gonna noodle it a little bit over the weekend. But on Monday, I will be back working on clothing and locking down the style with the director on a voice call, which will be really helpful, I think, for everybody who is also working on the project. Again, if you're here in my stream from the project, there should be, or if I put it in the wrong channel, I will put it in the correct channel. A Google Doc that is going to have a list of what do you want to see from a style guide. There's some things that are already going to go in there, but if you have any comments or suggestions, you should be able to like suggest on the document but not edit it. If Google Docs does not let you comment or suggest, let me know and I will change that. But yeah, thank you everyone for showing up. I hope if you're working on the project that this is helpful a little bit in the animation side, and then next week or on Monday at about 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time will be more in depth with the style and finalizing your animation and all that good stuff. So yeah, thank you for everyone who showed up, and I will catch you on Monday.